Hi, I wanted to try to explain rigging concepts for character animation, and I found a really good example in Josiah Brooks. His website is Jazza Studios. Draw with Jazza is a video series on YouTube, and he was at one time good enough to release some of his source code, some of the Flash files, for how he created something called Larry of Carillon. I hope I got the name right. And it's a really remarkable video, and I encourage people to go and check it out. But I wanted to break down one scene to see how it was that Josiah managed to put all this stuff together, because it's really complex. It's really neat animation, but really complex. And so let's try to break down things. First of all, he's using something called a VCam, and I'm going to turn that off, but that allows you to zoom into only part of the stage in Flash. And then he starts creating the layers of all the action going on. If we just ignore the camera for a while, he's got layers of audio that are used, sound effects, music, and dialogue. And then he's got individual symbols for the characters, Larry and the Wizard, as an example. And then he's got his background stuff. So I just wanted to focus in on Larry for a bit. I'm going to zoom in on him and take a look and see how he's been constructed, because it's kind of neat. So there's Larry. I can make him turn him on and turn off with the layer visibility. And if I were to click on Larry, oops, here, you can see that Larry is a graphic symbol. This is an instance of Larry Scene 1-1, and the library is just rich with all these things, all nicely organized into subfolders so you can keep track of them. But they go on forever, because this is a pretty epic animation. And if I scrub ahead to this, let's take a look at Larry and see what's going on with him, the Larry symbol. Double-clicking him, we can go into the Larry, this particular version of Larry, and see that this is a little mini segment that just looks like this. And all the music and sound effects are gone, and all we get left is a duplicate copy of the audio. And because that audio has been changed into a stream, we can scrub and hear it. And the same thing happened earlier on in the main scene. That ha was still there, along with all the sound effects and rumbling. It too is a stream, and when the whole thing plays, it'll only play one of those versions. It's not like it doubles up. So this is just a little trick to do the lip syncing or the sound syncing, make sure everything fits. Now, breaking this down further, I kind of broke all the bits and pieces down of what's going on with Larry. First of all, there's an element here that's just the cloak of the wizard. It's because it's being animated and it moves around a little bit, and it's frame-by-frame animation that's taking place there. Then Larry's left hand, well, it'll show up eventually, holding onto the cloak. Larry's body, Larry's head, his right arm that doesn't show up until a little bit later, because his right arm is actually in another layer, and it has to switch underneath the sword at some point. And so it drops down. Suddenly we'll stop one layer of the arm on top of the sword and drop to the layer of the arm under the sword. That's just the way the animation works. It makes a lot of sense. And then the voice doesn't matter if it's toggled on or off. So this is one layer of Larry, and you can see, yeah, this is a good character for explaining layers. You can see the complexity of what's going on with it. But even more, let's break it down further, because there's lots of motion, but the face is being animated and stays together in this head object here. So let's go take a look and see what's going on with the head object. I'll get to this point here. Maybe I could double click it here and see what's going on. And this opens up another symbol that does the ha and does the expressions. Now I'm going to drop it back a little bit. It's the same symbol used in this keyframe and this keyframe and this keyframe, because it's consistent, or it's continuous. It'll play all the way through. And notice that this is about 42 frames long, I think. Let's go to visit this version of Larry's face. We'll zoom in a little bit. I'll double click it and see what's going on. Yeah, it's the same 42 frame length. So it's matching the earlier sequence. And inside of here we have, let's see, there's a face layer. So the things that are most plain and don't change a lot are just drawn very simply. Eyes are added to that. Lower eyelids added to that to create movable expression, but the lower eyelids aren't moving. The upper eyebrows, they move a lot. Great, and it's all frame-by-frame animation. And then the mouth, which gets more sophisticated still. And sequences, you can see there is just a little bit of crushing going on. It's a transform that's taking place for earlier graphics. It's just fill and stroke, nothing fancy. No symbols within this, I don't think. and you get that synchronization again. And notice again, there's that sound sample again. It's attached to a keyframe in stream mode, so the only reason that it's being duplicated there is just to allow it to be synced up with the containing symbols or the containing scene, so that so that later on things like the music can be synced up with it. It's just little cues. So it's an interesting system to try to put together a very complex animation. It works really well. Love to see Jazza, Josiah Brooks, put together a video on where he learned all this stuff from and what his techniques are on saving time and to give him the greatest flexibility. But hopefully that reveals a little bit of how you can appreciate the construction and rigging of these characters to make something really good. Go look for Draw with Jazza and check it out. It's a marvelous series. Thanks, Josiah. Appreciate it.